on her own to do a lot of the engaging, and I think that Zapdo definitely looked to have struggled with that, specifically versus Azaya as well, who's so good at peeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it looks like we are into that picks and bans nice and quick for this second game. So see what the adaptation is going to be. Ruddy once again have gone to that blue side. So I believe it's the team who's higher up gets to choose. And then I can't remember the order of it, actually.
So Ruddy will have chosen game number 1 and game number 2 because they lost because they lost game 1. So it's higher seed chooses for first game, loser chooses every game afterwards.
Yeah, so Ruddy, actually, unlike any of our other teams, putting a lot of emphasis on the first pick being more powerful and more important to them than all of the other teams, but felt that, red side is the strong side because you trade one strong pick for 2. It does look like there has been some adaptation in here. The Rail Rumble ban, I actually expect this just to be a handshake ban for the entire day, while the Azir and the Zaya, the 2 adaptation bans coming in from Ruddy, I think it makes sense. They were really victim to Omen's Azir last game, and obviously, tidying up and ending that game for them. Over to Nord now, things like the Maokai have been left open. A lot of power picks are up and available right now.
Yeah, and for me, the big thing that's standing out from this draft is Poppy. Not banned away from Ruddy, and I don't really think Shihan plays it, so...
it's a Zapdo B1 angle.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, we could potentially... Zapdo
that's the prey.
Yeah,
it's cope a lot. It's very cope, but it's the prey.
Maokai, as Jay mentioned, is a power pick, and Zapdo loves Maokai, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that sat down either. But yeah, it is. I do think we'll see a Poppy here for Kacklesaga. I think it's his best play. He's his best champion, his most played champion. He loves it. You can blind pick it as well. Really, just I think the Nord operate best when they are able to just stick Cackles on someone. It's like, yo, you do your thing. You sit around. You're chilling. And we'll play the rest of the map, and Poppy is the perfect pick for that.
I think it's also a solid flex as well, because you can put it in the jungle or the top, so there's a little bit of wiggle room there. Ruddy now looking to kind of run through the ideas and what they're going to be picking up. I would be surprised to see them actually pick up top laner here. I feel like this is a support and a bot lane angle. The Nautilus is open if they want to pair that up with the Kai'Sa. On the other side, that Tristan is flexible between Omen and Hiddo, so... we'll see what the angle's going to be, but Shihan actually going to that Renekton, something that was mentioned at the beginning of the day, a solid pick for them in that top side. Blind for them, though. We've seen, we saw yesterday, the misery that a Renekton can experience if you end up playing into the likes of a Kennen or something like that can just go up in the top lane. And if this is a Tristana mid, Kennen's not a bad pick because it gives them an avenue into AP.
I do want to quickly as well point out that with...
as you do...
and out of nowhere, Amumu getting locked in. Now we've got this mismatch in the draft, right? Game number 1, we saw parity across both 3 picks. This time we're going to hopefully see Ruddy target that top lane pool quite heavily. Nord should be looking to take away your Leonas, your Nautiluses, those really well synergizing bot lane pairings with the Kai'Sa. We do also have to quickly mention that there's a small chance that this is NV carry Kai'Sa in the mid lane. We've seen Kai'Sa flex to the mid lane time and time again. The expectation for me is that Nord take their top laner on 4 here and reveal their mid lane pick a little bit later on, just so they get counter picking both solo lanes and make sure that this Kai'Sa doesn't go into somewhere they're not expecting.
Yeah, I do think like Nautilus and Poppy are just such power picks for this draft here. Like if you're Ruddy, you're so happy to pick Poppy. Sorry, if you're Nord, you're so happy to pick Ruddy into Poppy into Renekton. Get there eventually. And yeah, Nautilus is banging into Rakan. It's so good with Kai'Sa as well. Like it just seems like a no-brainer to hit that one down. I was genuinely surprised that this Renekton was the lock-in here instead of that Nautilus. I just feel like Nautilus made so much sense here. Like you have so much engage. You've got the perfect makings of a dogpile comp if you had that champion, and of course you don't pick it, it's just going to get banned away like it has here. So both Silas and Nautilus off the table here. See what we go for our last choice. I guess the assumption is like that Tristana's going to be in mid, which is why these 80 carries are getting pinched here. Zaya's already been taken away, and it is just going to be a missed ban. So nothing else getting put away, and just, yeah, as you do.
I actually feel that, the Poppy obviously is a solid pickup here for the side of Nord. that Ashe ban could also partly be doing just to try and force the Tristana into the bot lane. We'll have to see. They decide actually to go elsewhere. I think the last time we saw Hiddo play the Zeri, they got a Penta as well, if I remember right. I might be wrong on that one. But
Someone got a Penta.
We've had a whole bunch of Pentas on the Zeri. Champ's really balanced. We'll see what the picks are going to be here for the side of Ruddy. I really am in favor of that Silas ban. When you've got the Rakan and the Amumu on your team, the last thing you want those ults stealing away from you and just a Silas running at you. But I feel with the Naught ban, Leona is probably the solid ban here for the bot pickup for the bot lane. It's that last of the kind of good melee supports you can handle that Rakan in lane. Does mean that Kai'Sa can synergize pretty well up there. So I feel that we could actually see MV Carry pull out his mid laner here and they slap Toaster on the Kai'Sa. Is going to be the game plan. Going for the other brother this time. The Yone locked in for MV Carry.
Can't go one, so we'll take the other one. Right, Yasuo's banned away, so we'll take the Yone into this matchup. Gives them, generally speaking, a nice damage profile as well. A little bit of extra magic damage that comes from a Yone. Kai'Sa very likely to go for this very heavy AP build. We've got Renekton full AD on that top side, so across the carries, it's a really nice mismatch of all of the damage that's going to be coming through, which is extremely important now that Kachkos has locked in the Malphite in the top lane, right? You've got a champion that just loves stacking armor, not so much stacking MR, but it's not going to be the worst case in the world. He's going to be able to very easily itemize the first couple of items because he's against Renekton top.
Absolutely. I also remember the last time we saw Kachkos on the Malphite, and he hit that like 4-man Malphite that just won the team fight for Nord. I think that was actually the ult that qualified them for playoffs. So a really solid pickup there for them. Obviously, kind of just stonewalls the top side. Isn't really going to lose there. And genuinely, I love what Ruddy have put together. But Nord just have a press Archie team where you have the Amumu, you have the Malphite, you have so much crowd control, and Omen and Hiddo should just be able to run away with this game. Now, that obviously is the concern for all of the damage profile is on AD, so eventually Zapdo and Sheehan will get kind of a little bit too tanky for them to just immediately burst through. But if they can kill the squishies, I don't think it really matters.
We've got the two most obnoxious members of Bronzodia on the side of Nord there.
Is Malphite and Amumu?
Malphite and Amumu, yeah. I know, well, no, literally, Bronzodia. I know Blitzcrank's in there. I can't remember who the other two champions are that create Bronzodia. You know what? I'm going to Google it for
Annie Misfortune. It would be who I would go for as like your go-to comps, but
Amumu, Blitzcrank. This is old school, by the way. So I don't even know. Like we're talking old, like 10 years old. Shen and Cho'Gath are the other two. Pre any reworks and probably before any of those champions existed. But yes, we've got Malphite and Amumu. Amumu's the head of Exodia or Bronzodia, so bear that in mind. It's a very easy comp to execute is basically what I'm saying here from the side of North.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually just kind of I was thinking about what I said where I was like, oh, it's a very AD focused team actually. I guess I kind of forgot that Zeri is relatively mixed. So it's actually, the damage profile's not as bad as I think it is. And also remember, Amumu's passive allows kind of that AP to get converted as well and kind of deals additional damage. Foxy just sent me a picture. God damn it. Of Bronzodia. Anyway, I do think kind of just going away from that, Nord as a team, I think right now, they are just drafting very clear ease of execution comps. And that is a really solid avenue for them to just take the team fights. Last game, Ruddy tried to play something a little bit more kind of based on kind of managing your ways, playing the lanes in that 1-3-1 style we highlighted, and Nord just went no, we're gonna fight, and they kind of forced them into those fights. And I feel like Ruddy have to be very careful because they could fall victim to having fights started against them against their terms again with this comp. So it's gonna be an interesting one going into this next game.
I do think that Ruddy have a lot more agency to get specifically onto those backline carries though this time around, right? We asked how are they going to be able to dive the backline, well this time there's a lot more set up for NV Carry and for Toaster as well to get in, right? You've got Yone, Kai'Sa, two almost assassin carries as we get later into the game. I'm more than happy to take out a Zeri and a Tristana. With the Maokai, you've got Grasping Roots coming through, Solar Flare, there's a lot more engage from the Ruddy side, so those questions that we had from the game number 1 draft have been answered in this game number 2 one. Of course, it doesn't take away from the fact that Nord do just have a very powerful death ball.
Alrighty, well, Ruddy grouping up, waiting to see as the tent goes up. to see if Zapdo can bait anybody forward. But let's be real, Nord are not going to fall for that one. They've drawn their defensive line in the sand across that river, making sure there's no invades going on. It's just going to be a pretty standard start going into this game number 2. I guess we've talked a lot about how we think Nord just have that kind of headbutt Arky win fight comp. What do Ruddy need to be doing here with this game then? What's the game plan when you've got the, the Renekton, the Yone? They've obviously got a power pick in the Kai'Sa and the Maokai as well in there.
For me, like, what I'm loving about this draft is, like, both these teams just seem to want to butt heads against each other. Like, both teams kind of just want to go aggressive and crazy. Like, you've obviously got a Mumu and Malphite and Rakan, who all just going to be jumping forward. Tristana and Zeri get involved as well. But then on the side of Ruddy, it's the same thing. Yone wants to engage. Yone wants to jump in. Kai'Sa obviously following up on that CC. Like, both these team comps just want to go crazy and they want to go ham. And I imagine, like, this is what's going to make the early game quite important here, is whichever team has the most gold will win the team fight, right? Unless you can catch someone out of position specifically, it's really just going to be one of these brute force, ugly, bashing situations here in these team fights, and it's going to be some very entertaining League of Legends.
That's what
I'm here for.
Take a quick look as well at some of the keystones of choice. Indecision opting for the Conqueror here on this Amumu. So just in case we were missing any magic damage, there's going to be a little bit extra backed up from Indecision. Jihan definitely getting the worst end of that trade on that top side despite his best efforts. Catch Cost just more than happy at this stage in the game to fire off those cheese rolls and more than happily win trades.
It's that grasp as well, getting those empowered autos in. Zapdo actually making his way over, but Indecision's also in the area. Suddenly, Catcox's health bar is evaporated, it's gone. He's in real danger, gets sped up from the queue. Indecision coming in for that counter gank means this gank is not going to be happening, and we're able to shove that wave in, make sure that it crashes perfectly there, and Kakos can just go and reset.
I actually really love this from both of the junglers, recognizing the volatility of how this top lane matchup had evolved through just the first couple of waves, and both foregoing their bot side to make sure that they can be there to defend one another up against any potential ganks. Really good to see Indecision make that play, and that they're able to count CS. They have Prio in the mid lane. Actually leads into an invade that's going to go their way.
Very nice.
There's not really going to be a play Zapdo can do about that, unfortunately. Just going to have to give up his chickens.
Normally it's Zapdo who is the chicken stealer. The stealer has become the stealed. The stolen, I don't know how you'd say that one.
Burgled?
The burglar's become the burgled.
The robbed.
Yes, I love that. He's, going to be on the receiving end of this. As Omen now getting a very, very aggressive trade here. Good trade onto Envy Carry. He's looking to have a bounce back game here in game number 2. The first game of this series really did not go Envy Carry's way, and on the flip side, Omen, beautiful stuff there on that Azir. A bit more of an aggressive champion. Speaking of aggression, Hido is going to lose a lot of his health and have to load that cleanse in the 2v2.
You have to be so careful because Omen also looking to rotate over to that. Isn't going to be able to get in range, but I think Indecision is playing this game very, very smart. He's always ready to have that counter invade or the counter gank, or he's always just kind of wherever Zapdo wants to be. Indecision's always hovering off in the distance, and it's making his life really hard here. Is Omen almost gets his base interrupted and has still got that teleport up and available, so he just wants to find that reset, make sure he doesn't lose out too hard here, as Envy Carry not really being able to do too much to stop him on that front, while Ruddy definitely starting things off in a little bit of a rougher way. I feel the top lane trade, that was really great, but Indecision, really smart read to make sure that Kakos doesn't go down early and kind of start snowballing that crocodile out of control. Because eventually it gets to a point where there's just too much armor on the Malphite and he can just clear the waves and not die to the Renekton in that side lane. And then is there just to press R? That's the major thing. And, Indecision making sure that that lane doesn't snowball away. Indecision's just been playing this game really, really intelligently. Really intelligently.
And it's good to see as well. I think coming into the series, again, we had these expectations that Ruddy were going to be able to come away with probably the win in the series, but for the time being, they're down one game. And it is off the back of overperformances from what we expected from Omen in this game through at least the first 5 minutes. Indecision as well. Just being at the right place at the right time, such an important part of playing jungle, shadowing your waves when they need to find crashes, as we're seeing right here.
Yeah, it really is making sure all of these waves do crash for his team. Hiddo needs to be careful. He's just lost his jungler. He might just lose his life for it. Surfs over the wall to try and get away, but the Leona stuns on. Toaster flashes forward. Hiddo flashes away, but Pui is going to come in, gets himself the stun, gets himself the lockdown. Seneca can do nothing but waddle away. He may even fall for it as he's bopped back. First blood goes to Pui, and Hiddo dies for reward.
He tried. Hiddo tried to make the great escape and almost made it happen, hopping over the wall and then flashing back. Good news for Nord, though, is that first blood goes over to Pui on the Leona. Not really the ideal target there for that gold. Obviously, it would be much worse for Nord if it had been on the Kai'Sa. So, you know, something, I guess, to take away from that one. But at the end of the day, very, very nicely done there by Ruddy's indecision now. Going back for another steal, doesn't know. Zapdo's behind him. Envy Carry can collapse too. He's not going to because there's too many minions. And Zapdo not going to take it. He's just going to get in trouble. What's he doing?
He's in some serious trouble. There's 2 Qs on the Amumu. Omen is going to be ready to jump in, and Indecision just finds himself a solo kill. Absolutely. Oh, he just got mummied.
Chadamumu blasting one first base. None of this giant spell rush nonsense into a potential demonic. He's going full AP for the time being, and Zapdo definitely gets the worst end of that. I think unless we see NV carry come straight from the Raptors, there's just no way you can ever try and step up to contest that. The engage range on a Tristana as well, exceptionally large. So, again, just a bit of weird decision making from Zapdo. Does get punished, and now Nord, with the jungler down, have free reign to start up this Drake.
It was just odd all around, right? Like, Zapdo can't be there unless he's setting up the collapse with Envy Carry, but Envy Carry had too many minions under tower. He was level 5 and Omen was level 6. There was just no realm where that was going to work, and now Zapdo is really behind here in this jungle matchup, which is not something you expect from the Maokai Amumu. I mean, I can't. Does a Mumu bully anyone? He just wants friends. He's the furthest thing from a bully. As MVK actually, he's going to snap back. Could he be in trouble here?
There was a part of me that was thinking, oh on, and these are the intrusive thoughts winning. Flash behind him and ult him back.
Yes.
And it's like, it probably goes really badly, but it would have been funny, you know?
Oh, it absolutely goes badly as they find the Fate Seal. Seneca's coming in, trying to find that knock-off of the shielding on. Envy Carry's in danger, but Omen Ignited has still got the flash. He's feeling comfortable to get away, but they're going to chase even further. The flashback by Omen to safety. In comes Indecision to try and save the day. This play got messy so quickly, but nobody goes down.
And Omen actually keeps his flash right there. Really intelligent play, knowing the exact damage outputs of the Ruddy squad. Keeps his flash available, is able to use Rocket Jump to get himself out of danger. And again, Ruddy not quite able to find the fight right there, but a nice little collapse from them does burn at least a little bit of time from Omen and gives NV Carry some much needed breathing room.
Nord's going to give this one up though. Indecision's only level 5, doesn't have his ultimate available, but Catch Cross does.
They're going for it. Finds himself the knock-up onto just Sheehan, but they're going to keep the pressure up. He slices, he dices, he dodges away. Indecision lands the bandage toss, and down goes Sheehan. Or does he? He flashes. They chase. Kakos finds the kill. Pui caught pinned in place with the curse of the sad mummy. Slowly but surely, they whittle him down. Seneca jumps in. They can't find the follow-up. The cheese wheel goes wide, and Pui waddles away with just a sliver of HP.
Almost falling because of the sins of his top laner right there. Trying to save him. Getting caught out himself. Oh my goodness, the owner's just so tanky with all the resistances she gets from her W, from the aftershock. It's all hideous stuff. And meanwhile, while Nord is putting all of their attention into that play around Herald and topside, Omen is just having the time of his life in mid here. 4 plates falling at 9 minutes. Very realistic that we might see all of those plates go down. He must be a very rich boy at this point. He's got 15 CS up and 4 plates. It's pretty scary stuff here. Omen's really getting off to a great advance.
And yeah, love that for the Nord mid laner, right? We've seen now 2 very different looks from him, and 2 where he's been bullying NV Carry, right? The Tristana and the Azir, definitely very different play styles. Really completely different champions in terms of how you want to play them out in the laning phase, but Omen done a very good job at capitalizing on both, making sure that NV Carry constantly feels pressured for picking these melee mids. And if nobody's here to cover this mid wave, it's going to be another teleport expended by the Ruddy mid laner just to catch up or stay even.
And it's surprising as well, because you would imagine with picking these melee mids against someone like Tristana, you want to then pick like an aggressive ganking style jungler so that you can alleviate some pressure and not just leave MV carrying this 1v1. And they have done that. Like, the Maokai is good at doing that, but it's just not worked out this game. I really feel like Indecision in his counter ganking specifically.
Wait.
He has had Zapdo's number.
Akos has R. And that is a low health Crocodile.
Crocodile
we'll
has
see
R
if he
as
decides
well,
to press
it?
that button. It is a Crocodile. He did just press Q and gets a bunch of health back. So, okay. Not going to happen. There was a moment where I got a little bit suspicious that something might go down. We starting to lose a fair amount of HP here to Hiddo, and Seneca also eats a little bit of response. Oh my word, that's a serious amount of damage. They find the lockdown. Hiddo's trying to keep the pressure up. He can just jump over the wall as Sheehan's in the area, desperately trying to avoid, trying to jump that wall. Seneca comes in. They're a little bit too slow to the punch, and there is the double kill. There are 2 members down. Not paying respect to that teleport, and Sheehan saves the day bot lane.
Big fan. The top lane there from Ruddy.
Oh no, that might not be the play they wanted. Zapdo in serious danger, and Omen can just finish this one up. Gets the bounce reset as well.
Oof.
Jumps that wall. Yeah, response play.
Really, again, Nord, they're able to capitalize. NV carry has, the soul's unbound, so he can just pop back quite easily. Unfortunately, it's not the same situation for Zapdo. He's committed and he's all the way in there, no way to get back out. Again, Omen capitalizing on some of the mistakes that Ruddy are making around this mid lane. Now, they're not able to take down this turret just yet, even though you can tell that that is the apple of their eye. There's a little effort to make a play down on this bot or in this midsection of the map. Nice to see that Ruddy did get the Herald as well in lieu of all of this, so that first turret in the mid lane is going to be a little harder to come by.
What's getting to me in this series here is the style at which Nord are beating Ruddy. Obviously, this game is far from concluded, and it's only game 2 of the series. But when we were looking at Nord in the preview here, we were looking at how they would be able to beat Ruddy, how they would take it to Ruddy. A lot of it focused around Hiddo, and yes, Hiddo did get a pentakill in that first game. But really, what's shocking to me is just this mid gap so far that we've seen. Omen has just completely out-pressured and outplayed NV carry constantly, and on 2 different styles of champions as well. And it's just not what I was expecting coming into this matchup. And Ruddy need an answer. They need an answer, and they need to find it quickly, because without one, they're going to fall out of game number 2, and they'll be put on point for the whole series.
And just concerning the state of this game number 2, plates are about to fall off. Omen has done so much work to this mid lane tower. Zapdo will get that tower. We'll get that dragon, but Omen almost finishing up the plates, almost finishing up the tower. They're consistently keeping 2 to 3 members mid just to try and deny Omen this final plate gold. He's got one last wave to get that shove off, but the cost has been, with the amount of members they're investing into this losing mid lane, Kakos has been able to pick himself up 4 plates on the bot side. In the top side, in the bot side, they've picked up 2 plates as well. A lot of plate gold has been injected into Nord. And it's really come down to these melee mids getting counterpicked by Omen, and Omen just being able to control MV carry and just keep him in a position where he's constantly on reset. So he always has Pui and Zapdo hovering in the area in case he gets killed, in case his tower falls early, and then more gold goes over to Tristana. Because if Tristana gets 5 plates plus first tower gold, that's a rough situation. I mean, Tristana already has a really solid matchup into a lot of mid laners. An accelerated Tristana like this, that's a scary situation. That's a very, very scary situation for Ruddy to be looking at in game number 2.
I think it's easy to remember that Tristana's the, I can aggressive Gumba Stomp on you style of AD carry. A little bit more forgotten is the fact that when she gets to level 18, she has the highest base range of any ADC in the world. So she's actually very, very safe with the rocket jump as well, the buster shot to knock people away. So if you're getting accelerated and you're just with the Q attack speed steroid as well, you just actually out DPS the majority of ADCs when you hit late game. So getting accelerated, it's a double-edged sword where it's like both sides are super sharp if you're Nord, because you've got a really fed assassin and also a marksman for a late game.
The thing is too is, like I mentioned, because both these team comps just want to jump in and like dogpile on top of each other, it's so hard to find the engage onto Tristana when she gets that extra range, and the fact that she's got all this gold from early game 2, right, from those plates in the towers. Like, she's not someone you're going to want to jump into. Like, Kraken Slayer first item as well, with that true damage. Like, your front line isn't going to be that tanky versus her. It's actually going to be really difficult to deal with Tristana in this game. And I don't envy Ruddy for the position they're in right now at all. And the question will be how Nord then leverage Tristana after this first tower's gone in mid, which is very soon going to happen. It's like you sneeze and it's dead at this point. Like, when they put her into side lanes, like how they play through that, because that is where Nord could fall.
Oh, Toaster. There's no escape. He can ult away all he likes, but they should be able to finalize this one. W goes a little bit wide, and Toaster, I was wrong. He's safe, but who isn't safe is that Crocodile. He goes down. MV carry.
That's a very skinny Crocodile, Jake.
Yeah, I didn't realize they top lane.
I think C's top lane. C's top lane. Imagine top laner. You know what? It's a forgivable. Generally, I would have done the same thing. You know, pan up to that top side. Why is Yone here? Oh, you realise it's because he's been getting absolutely smandangled in the mid lane, and top lane, unfortunately, no better. It would appear.
No, see, a nice guy would let Jake off on that one. I've been working with Jake for so long and consider him a good friend of mine, so I am going to pick it up and call him out on it.
Well, you know what? I'll do Jake a favour in response. Kraken Slayer actually doesn't do true damage anymore on its third hit. It's bonus AD.
Oh wow!
It's just bonus attack damage instead.
I appreciate you defending me on something I haven't said, but I appreciate that.
I think I said something along those lines.
Yeah,
he's calling me out on it.
Oh, sorry. I see.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I stand correct. Yeah, I'm honestly, what a dingus.
This is a very slippery slope here before we go into just deeply personal anecdotes that we don't like about one another. And
there's nothing I dislike about Foxy. I love him.
Ah,
well,
he's just a bit of a plonker.
Positive slope before we start gassing one another up. Then I guess let's go.
It's all wholesome here. Ruddy, though, speaking of wholesome things, getting their first win on the board here, getting the Rift Herald, although Indecision doesn't have ultimate, so I think they are just going to recognize it's time to give up. Going to pick that one up, be happy with that. Kakos, he's going to not get this tower before Sheehan gets in, but he will take the tower total. Sheehan will try and run Kakos down, but it's so hard to kill him. He's got Bramble, he's got Boots, he's got Bernie Top, so he's able to get away. Sunfire Cape, that's the one. And not much Sheehan can do about that.
More importantly, he's got the cheese wheel. The steal of movement speed just makes it impossible to chase him down.
So glad I'm not the only one who pulls out the cheese wheel. It is literally like it's beautiful.
It just is, isn't it? There's no better description for it.
And it does make like engaging onto Malphite as a melee champion basically impossible. Like, you know, you lose your move speed, he gains the move speed, and then when he uses his E, your attack speed gets cut down as well, so you can't even just, like, you know, like in Renekton's case, like your W coming from that auto attack swing, like it's just so difficult to lock him down. And yeah, TP burn there from Sheehan, so that is teleport advantage here for the Malphite. Consider that one as this game develops here. It's now almost a 5,000 gold lead here for Nord. They are just destroying Ruddy's structures here across the map. It's not even from kills, it's just from objectives, and they're doing a great job at it.
Exactly, those platings definitely paying dividends. You look at the kill score, you think, oh, really, you know, they're fairly still within this one. Nobody's particularly been feeding, and unfortunately that can be true, and you can still be losing the game quite heavily. Indecision did a very good job early on at just having better pathing over Zapdo and leveraging the positive lane that he had in mid lane to get himself extra gold.
I'm so glad the Observer switched and toggled gold there, because that was something I was just about to ask for. Look at that mid gap. It is absolutely colossal. And this is the thing which is so scary about this Nord team, is they've got the ease of execution team, and their carries are fed. I mean, yeah, Hiddo, it's only like, it's a 500 gold lead, which is nothing major, but that 3k gold lead on Tristana, 2-level advantage over MV carry. Kakos in his decision, press R, and it might be Omen's turn to get a pentakill.
Hiddo's 0-2-0, right? You look at the scores of these AD carries and tell me which one has more gold. You don't say it's the Zeri, ever. It is those turrets that have given global gold, local gold as well between the plates, and Hiddo, despite the fact that he's 0-2-0, more than happy to be stepping forward in these team fights. He's ahead on experience versus Toaster as well. We've got a Drake spawning inside the next minute, so expect to see Nord take that one fairly freely for themselves. Would like to see if Ruddy have learned from game number 1 where we said, don't do a Drake here.
Oh no, MV carry, that is just sad. He can't do anything. He tries to trade back on the Kakos, and Kakos is just getting grasp stacks. That was brutal.
Honestly, it's just kind of unplayable at this point for MV carry. Like, you can't walk up to anyone, and when you're playing a Yone that can't walk up to people, it's yeah, it's a little bit doomed, I guess. It's very tough, very, very tough in this situation. And we are now kind of on the precipice here in game number 2 of Nord, you know, taking this second game and putting Ruddy on match point here, forcing them into that reverse sweep, which was, you know, coming into this series not something that we were expecting. You know, most of the regular season Nord were struggling. They got off to like a 2-4 start in their first 6 games. Really far cry from what we saw from them in spring. But of course, again, huge testament to this organization. Completely blew up the roster. Nord is not the same Nord that we saw in spring that came top of the regular season and was one of the best teams in the league. You know, this is a completely new roster, and they're still here in playoffs, and they're still taking it and competing, and may even just be able to take this series away from Ruddy, which would be a potential upset. Still early days, okay? We can't call this either way just yet, but great signs here from Nord.
And I do love that you bring back that spring split mentality as well, the sort of embodiment of both of these two teams, because Ruddy in spring were a team that were, again, solidly third place. The parallels for them this season, from this season in spring as well, honestly, very, very high. They were a very solid third place team, not really had anybody contesting them below, weren't quite at that level to challenge the top 2 either, but then had a really ropey first playoff series and finished 4th.
And Pui in serious danger, flashes away, so they will get away from that Leona W. Given enough resistances just to keep them from getting into too much trouble. The problem is topside is getting heavily shoved in. It's a Tristana Zeri. Like, this tower just does not survive. Look at it. Pop on Demolish, and it's done. That's a massive injection of cash into both Hiddo and Omen. And they're just sitting pretty. They've got so much control over this game, and very little burn. They jumped onto Pui, burnt his flash, didn't invest a single ultimate or summon a spell to get that damage down. Maybe a smite, but, like, it's smite, so that doesn't really count. And they're just sitting pretty. Two quick... oh, God, I forgot the name of that item. Navari. Two Navaris. Yeah. Yes, 2 quick blades picked up onto Omen and Hiddo. And there's the Static Shiv and the Static Shiv and Kraken Slayer as well. Static Shiv obviously giving a nice amount of wave clear over to the side of Nord. And also playing a little bit more into that AP profile, which we were talking about could be somewhat lacking. But with Zeri being a mixed damage ADC... having that is going to play, you know, dividends into mixing up that DPS and damage profile a little bit.
And if you thought that Zeri was difficult and slippery to lock down before, we now have a quick blades, right? So that E is getting double procced with every single auto attack. Zeri's E resets a little bit every single auto as a part of her kit. We've got the Navori quick blades as well, which takes a second off it every auto attack as well. So it's just going to be Hiddo dashing about every single chance he gets. Oman dashing about every time he gets a reset. He's just taking a tier 2 turret independently of anybody on that bot side of the Rift, and that's about 1,000 gold funneled into this Tristana inside the last 2 minutes.
He's going to have to be very careful here. Interrupting, maybe caught in the shot, trying to survive. Jumps over the ult, can't get away. Tries to get the W off, has got that buster shot, has still got the flash. Sheehan's in danger! Omen! He didn't flash! He didn't buster shot!
He had no mana, he was completely but yes, more importantly, he has dragged everyone down from Ruddy to the bot side, and this should be Nash here for Nord.
They're teleporting in, it's going to be on Indecision and Kakos to keep this one alive. There's going to be the stay, there's going to be the fate sealed! Hiddo's over the wall, they find the knockup, they're trying to get the bounce back damage! Oh my word! Hiddo, he's got to make this moment count, and he absolutely has! Double kill for Indecision! Nord somehow make the best of a bad situation.
It's just a massive wallet diff for Nord. Ruddy get a 4-man fate sealed in a Baron pit up against targets with drained armor and MR, but none of them fall. They're all just barely able to limp away, a couple flashes, couple dashes, and there's still 4 people with Baron for Nord.
And you just cry if you're Ruddy at this point. Oh, yeah.
Oh no, it's over. It's so over for Zapdo. He knows it. Stand still.
Like, you finally had an answer for this Tristana. You kind of caught her slipping a little bit, right, with that bit of a greedy recall, but it's certainly just, you know, you deal with one fire and then suddenly you realize that there's an inferno on the other side, and it's just looking so tragic here for Ruddy. 10,000 gold difference right now, plus a Baron buff here for Nord. This is looking almost insurmountable now for Ruddy. They're gonna have to find a miracle.
And the thing is that Nord had done the majority of what we typically see first Baron do without the first Baron at all. They'd taken all of the outer structures just because they were so far ahead without the Baron buffs. The first time they get a hold of it, they're able to just crack open the base like it's nobody's business. Inhibitor in the bot lane's already fallen, means that they can move their way into this mid lane quite easily as well, and just continue to domino down these inhibitors.
I'm gonna say something bold here, so buckle up, chaps.
Oh dear.
I think off the sample size we've had for playoffs, Nord actually look like the best team in playoffs right now. Ooh. I think Natives and Verdant did not look good yesterday. I think they both look very indecisive and very hesitant to play the game. Nord, understanding win conditions in both of these games, and have been playing a non-slow, accelerated, understanding exactly what to do, and have played the games really, really well. Now, there is a world where Ruddy can still reverse sweep. This game's not over yet, technically, as well, but it's going to have to be one hell of a job from Ruddy. They're going to start by trying to open up onto Omen, but he is able to dash away, and Nord crack the second inhibitor tower here. And we'll get on to this inhibitor as well pretty quickly. Not really too much Ruddy can do about this, as Zapdo Hex flashing back into his base as he's unable to find an opportunity to jump onto Omen. And Nord now still got some time on this Baron, still looking to try and see if they can siege up to this top side. And this game is feeling rough right now for Ruddy.
And they're just playing the map so well, Nord here. It's really impressive to see. And for me, this is what I like to see, because it's something that was perhaps lacking a little bit from this squad in the regular season. But they know exactly what their win conditions are. They know how to play to it, and they're making very little mistakes. Ruddy trying a last desperation engage.
I think this might be dangerous. There's the knock-up. There's the follow-up. Indecision. Pops the R. Omen finds the kill. Gets himself a double. Dashes away to safety to get away from Pui. There's Pui on the run. There's nothing he can do but watch as Toaster slowly but surely is just finished up by the rock. As down goes the towers. Down goes the base. 25 minutes on the clock. And Nord, they're on match point.
Dominance is the word we're going to use here for this Nord performance here in game number 2. And this is 2 games in a row